Forspoken, a new open-world RPG adventure game coming out in just a little over a month. It stars a woman named Frey who has been transported from New York to a magical land called Athia. She connects with a sentient bracelet and can now use magical abilities to confront the ruling matriarchs, the Tantas, while attempting to find her way back to her own world. We now have a demo that allows us to get a good feel of the game. I streamed my very first experience with the demo, and it was a bit rough. I was annoyed with the floaty movement, way too much banter between Frey and her bracelet, and very weird combat. But by the end, after completing all of the objectives, I felt like I could see some potential. So I decided to dig deeper on my own time. This video will wrap up all my thoughts about both my experiences streaming and spending some extra time with the game. So I played an extra 2 hours of the game on my own time, digging through all of the performance settings, equipment, skill trees, and menus that are offered in the demo. This is what I feel is the main issue right off the start. They do a poor job of preparing the player with any knowledge outside of basic movement and attacking. Very little systems or menus are explained at all. It feels more like they cut out an actual chunk of the finished game, stuck a bare bones tutorial in the beginning and said have fun. The demo exists as if you've already been playing the game for at least 5 to 10 hours, I would say. And while that sounds like it's a good thing, it kind of sours the experience when you don't know exactly what you can do or how things work. So if you plan on trying it out for yourself, definitely take the time to comb through all of the menus and settings. There's a surprising amount of stuff to see and play around with. So starting off with the things I had issues with. Right away, the dialogue between Frey and her bracelet was way too constant. They never stopped talking. With almost every action I made, they both had some sort of forced dialogue with each other. It got on my nerves really quick, taking me out of whatever immersion the game wanted me to have. I found the option for this and switched it to minimal. Absolutely the best decision. I personally don't understand why this kind of thing is becoming more frequent in video games. It's almost like developers are too afraid to have a little bit of silence in their games. Let the players have some time to think and not be bombarded every few seconds with their character talking. In the demo, you have multiple pieces of equipment. You can upgrade Frey's skills quite a bit as well. My issue isn't with the options given, but more so in its presentation. When you open the menus, it's shown in a very disorientating way, almost like a fisheye lens. Navigating through these made it hard to really focus on what I was looking at. It's very strange, and maybe that's the point, being a game with magic and stuff, but it's not the most appealing visual at first glance. Now on to my main issues, the combat. Right away, the combat felt very floaty and automated. I felt strong Final Fantasy 15 2.0 vibes. The main difference being that Frey uses 2 different sets of magic to attack her enemies, one being red magic, melee-based, and purple magic, projectile-based. Because of this, you do have the ability to chain together various spells to create some combos. The problem is, it just doesn't feel very seamless and fluid, which is probably what they were trying to go for. Frey's floatiness mixed with her exaggerated maneuverability, or magic parkour as it's called, just creates a mess in any encounter with at least 3 or more enemies. It gets chaotic really fast. And it's not just the combat itself, but I felt the camera and lock-on system was very unreliable in these situations. There were many times I would be locked onto an enemy, be forced to dodge, and because the camera movement and target swapping is tied to the right stick, I would automatically swap to some target I wasn't even attacking. I've even had the lock-on swap to an enemy that was nowhere close to me, which would lead me to missing some follow-up attack. The camera also stays too close to Frey, leading to getting easily blindsided by enemies. There is an indicator that will alert you to incoming attacks, but by the time you notice it with everything else going on, the enemy has likely taken a chunk of your health already. And on occasion, if you do manage to dodge, you're more than likely to find yourself right into another attack that wouldn't be indicated at all. It gets frustrating. Then add in flying enemies that force you to swap to your projectile magic, and things start to go downhill really quick. I will admit that I am personally not great when it comes to shooting or aiming, as you'll see, but it doesn't change the fact that switching between magics to deal with multiple enemies isn't the most fluid experience it could be. Mix that with there being no combat tutorials to showcase how combat should flow, it takes a lot of getting used to. There's a lot of potential here though for a fun time, and maybe that's possible in the full game when we are able to organically grow out our skills while progressing through the game. Until then, this demo left me not feeling very confident about that, considering this feels like a snippet of the already finished product. With all of that aside, I actually do have some positives. I really enjoyed the look of the world we're able to see. There's a weird sense of mystery as you roam through Athia. Various ruins and remains of strongholds pop up here and there. There's a few streams and ponds with lots of flora around them. And every time you look to the sky, you see tons of floating rubble, creating an interesting atmosphere. Within the world, you can collect artifacts that give you background on the world and its story. I really like this kind of world building when it's present. And it shows that there's a lot of care in place. There's even a bestiary with an abundance of information on enemies you take down along your way. It's always nice to see these things in games that have so much lore presented. Diving into the menus, I was very surprised at how much they gave us in terms of equipment, skill trees, upgrades, and crafting. I love that there's an assortment of cloaks, each having various attributes attached. Same with the nail polish system, which I think is a very cool and unique way of accessorizing your character. And as a plus, these things alter Frey's appearance in-game. I always love this. But it goes even further than that when you go into the crafting menus. You can use the resources you find to upgrade individual elements of your gear, ranging from health and defense boosts to certain buffs. Aside from equipment, you also have access to 2 skill trees in relation to Frey's 2 spell sets. This whole system seems like it would really allow you to build Frey to suit whatever playstyle you feel is your strongest. Most of the music I did enjoy. I found the theme playing on the menu very fitting, and hearing the orchestral arrangement of the same melody in the rest house was really calming. The music that plays out in the world is alright. It does have a generic action movie feel that never really lets up, and that could get annoying after a while, but I like it a lot as a standalone piece of music. The battle music is very triumphant and fits the chaos, but really isn't my favorite. It's not very memorable. It's really nice to see a demo for such a big game being released just around the corner. Though you have to dig really deep to see what's all offered within it, I still feel it was a decent representation of what Forspoken will have to offer. Whether this made you more excited or made you want to save your money is your choice to decide. I find myself somewhere in the middle. There's so many elements of it that are frustrating, confusing, and unsatisfying, but I can see the potential in the story, the world building, and the crafting system. I doubt that this late in development many changes will be made, so I fear the game is going to get quite a rough launch. So what do you think? Did the demo make you more excited, or did it make you feel like taking a pass? Let me know what you feel in the comments below. I hope wherever you are, you have a great day, and I will see you in another video.